Hello, and welcome to Rudy's Sports Business Notes. I'm Regine, and as ever, I'm joined by Rudy. Today, we're talking about what makes Australia's activewear game, well, so uniquely Australian. And, spoiler alert, it's about way more than just lycra and labels, right, Rudy?
Absolutely. G'day, everyone. If you've ever walked through Bondi at sunrise or, wandered down a Melbourne laneway on a Saturday, you know this, activewear isn't just a trend here. It's like hardwired into the whole Aussie identity. You'll see people in trainers and leggings everywhere, and no one bats an eye.
It's wild. I still remember the first time I stopped at this cafe after a not-so-epic run in Bondi. I was feeling all self-conscious in my not-at-all matching outfit, but turns out I blended right in. If anything, I look more local with messy hair and leggings. In the States, showing up in full gym gear outside the gym is kind of a statement. Here, it's just existing, which totally reflects this stat. 9 in 10 Aussies take part in sport or some physical activity every week. That's, let me check. Yeah, way above global averages.
Not surprised at all. That kind of participation rate isn't just amazing. It's a big reason why year-round there's steady demand for apparel that works everywhere. So it's not just fashion, it's part of daily life here. Speaking of daily life, the dollars add up. Australia's activewear market ticked over $8 billion this year, and it's still growing at 5% a year? That's steady, but it's less about explosive numbers and more about this consistent built-in demand.
Yeah, and what's being sold? Performance gear is a little over $2 billion, but athleisure and lifestyle pieces, that's the big chunk, over half the market. And I did my homework this time. Footwear and accessories make up the rest.
Here's something kind of interesting too. Distribution. Accent Group and Rebel Sport. They control over half of all athletic apparel retail in Australia. So even if you've got a really cool new brand, you're often at the mercy of these giants to get on shelves. I wonder, does that make it harder for local brands to even get a look in?
I think it does in some ways, especially with how visible those majors are. But also, direct-to-consumer is on the rise, and we'll get into that in a bit. Still, for now, you want mainstream reach? You're probably getting cozy with Accent Group or Rebel Sport. It's kind of like trying to play a new board game at family night. You still need buy-in from the auntie who owns the table. But what's really fascinating is why Australians pick what they pick. In the UK or US, people buy activewear for the look or, the logo or whatever. But here, it's mainly about, will it actually function when I'm sweating buckets outdoors? And can I wear it straight to brunch?
Yeah, climate's huge. Most Aussies want breathable, UV blocking and quick dry fabrics. Over 60% say those tech features totally sway their buying decision, way more than you'd get in, say, Europe.
Isn't it wild? I see brands in Australia going all in on sun protection tech. It's not just a marketing gimmick. Also, there's this whole loyalty angle. 2/3 of shoppers would rather support a homegrown brand like P.E Nation or Lorna Jane, even when the price is higher. Authenticity trumps celebrity endorsements here, big time.
Definitely. Community is the other one. Sport down here is social. It's not about crushing the competition as much as it is about making friends. Brands like Nike and Lululemon get that. Instead of just selling gear, they host community training and running groups. That vibe of belonging, it's a winner with Aussie consumers.
Honestly, it almost feels like if your brand isn't fostering some sort of group sweat session, you're missing half the market. So, what happens when global giants meet this high expectation local crowd? Well, they adapt or fade into background noise. Nike's big on free community events and training sessions to build real-world connections. Adidas, on the other hand, leans heavily into its eco-partnerships and their link up with the AFL. It's sort of like combining global cred with that local fan culture.
But Australia's not just taking hand-me-downs from these multinationals. Homegrown brands are proper innovators. 2XU basically made compression tech a thing, and they worked with the Aussie Institute of Sport to do it. P.E Nation brings this cool sport meets street style, and Lorna Jane, she was championing athleisure before it even had a name.
Exactly. It's so much like choosing between classic Monopoly and a bonkers local board game. Both work, but sometimes the Aussie version just has that extra zing you didn't know you needed. These brands blend science, community, and real-deal authenticity.
Yeah, and what's fun is it's not about being the biggest. It's about finding this sweet spot between credibility, emotion, and fitting right in with Aussie culture. Those global trends you see everywhere, like sustainability, performance stories, and tech, they've got a different flavor here. Sustainability, for example, Aussies expect durability and real repair options. Like Team Timbuktu, they're making their stuff locally, focusing on circularity, not just ticking a greenwashing box.
Yeah, I love that. There's none of the big save the planet campaigns here. It's more, hey, this will last, you can fix it, and it's made responsibly. And when brands tell stories about athletes, they focus on the every person's achievement, not just the gold medalists. Like campaigns featuring Kathy Freeman aren't about fame, they're about grit and humility. The whole vibe is more everyday hero than superstar legend.
And the digital piece. Direct-to-consumer sales are growing, but they're all about building connection, not just racking up numbers. Around 40% of sales go through brand-owned channels. You see brands like Lululemon turning their shops into experience hubs, and Stacks. With those digital community drops, they're chatting online, not just selling at you.
Plus, see how fabric innovation is laser-focused on local needs. Heat resistance, UV protection, moisture wicking. It's all about making sure you can survive a January afternoon jog and your gear doesn't give up before you do. Still, it's not all clear skies. The reality? Australia's population isn't huge, just 26 million. That limits how big brands can get. And then there's the tyranny of distance. Shipping stuff across this giant spread out country costs a fortune. Margins sit, 5 to 7% lower than global averages?
Yeah, and as much as we all love the made local story, only about 15% of sportswear actually gets made here. So if you're a small brand, ethical sourcing versus affordable prices is a tricky balancing act. I used to wrangle global supply chains back in my project management days. Let me tell you, local production is tough unless we somehow boost textile tech talent, though unis like RMIT and Deakin are starting to fill that skill gap.
Exactly, and there's this constant push-pull. Do we go ethical and absorb the cost, or do we risk losing price-sensitive shoppers? The sector's got loads of creativity, but is still fighting those structural headaches.
But hey, let's end on the upswing. Women's sport might be the biggest growth lever we've seen in a decade. After the Matildas crushed it at the World Cup, female sports sponsorship shot up by 30%. Now brands are all about inclusivity, maternity lines, empowerment campaigns, and all that.
Oh, absolutely. Massive e-commerce growth is coming too. Almost half of all activewear sales could be online by 2028. Brands like Stacks. And P.E Nation totally get digital engagement. They don't just hawk products, they build communities and loyalty with actual, conversations and tailored experiences.
And don't forget, the Aussie climate is like an R&D lab all by itself. Expect to see more fabric innovation, recycled stuff, heat-busting materials, collabs between apparel, sports orgs, and wellness platforms. Lots of crossover potential there.
So, what can the rest of the world learn? It's that a thriving market doesn't need to be massive. It needs to be locally tuned, practical, and above all, real. That's Australia's superpower in activewear, and it's why the world's watching. Any last thoughts, Rudy?
Nah, I think you nailed it, Regine. The activewear scene here is all about adaptation with empathy, not hype. Cheers for tuning in, and as always, thanks for listening to us ramble through sport and business.
We'll be back next week to break down even more sport industry insights. Until then, Rudy, catch you later.
Catch ya, Regine, and goodbye, everyone.